Let's see. I am filming without my glasses, so we'll see how well this goes. Hey everyone, it's Rochelle again, and today we are going to do another tag video. I think I'm almost caught up on all the tags that I have been tagged in, basically, but this one is that it isn't that bad tag, and I've been tagged by @CuriousCat, one of my lovely booktube friends, and then @Brooklyn's Library, another really great person that I've met through booktube, and I think it's about time that we get ready to go and do this tag because it seems like a lot of fun, and I'm interested to see my answers to some of these and also any of yours, so feel free to go and answer some of them below. I'll also put the questions down in the description as well. Alright, so question number 1, do you dog ear your books? And I will say a hard no. My grandma was a librarian, not necessarily when I was growing up, but she did have that previously as a career, and because of that she really taught me to take very good care of my books. So a lot of my books always looked like they were brand new, they were never touched. So yeah, I never dog-eared the corners of my books, and I would always have like random things as my bookmarks, whether it was a receipt or a napkin, whatever I could find at the time, I would use those. I would never go and bend the pages in my books. I will go and add, because one of my dear friends, she does actually go and bend the pages in her books, and we were actually having a conversation about this in Tennessee, and it's like, no, I still love you, I still care about you, but I'm probably never going to lend you any of my books because they're my babies. And I don't want any bent pages in my books personally. Do you annotate your books? And the answer to that is sometimes. It really depends on the book that I'm reading. So if it's a normal fiction book, then probably not. I have like sticky tabbed books that were like self-help books, and then the most recent one that I have annotated, Dear Medusa, and I actually do have like a short where it kind of showed some of the tabs that I did. There's really no rhyme or reason to some of the colors I used. I think some of them I was like, ooh, this really hits, and then other ones were just like a lot of emotions and feels. So kind of like that. But yeah, this is the closest that I've ever gotten to annotating a book. I cannot get myself to ever highlight a book, doing any of those things. This was as close as it gets because it's not something that's necessarily permanent to a book I own. But yeah, I can't get myself to go and write in a book. Even writing in college textbooks was extremely difficult for me. Also, if you can hear any crunching sounds, Nugget decided that she wants to eat right now. Do you roll your covers or break your spines when you're reading? And I really try my hardest not to. The only exception is if they're books that are about like this size and a bit on the thinner side. I noticed that when I try to hold them open, it's kind of to the point where you do have to open it up wider just to be able to read some of the words, especially the ones that are further into the crevice of the book. So because of that, I have broken the spines just on books that are this size. Do you listen to something while you read? I honestly don't. I kind of like peace and quiet. There have been a few nights lately this week where I've actually put on some ASMR to have in the background when I'm reading. But honestly, like aside from that, I really can't have something playing while I'm reading. I just like absolute silence, and I tend to get too distracted if there's something else going on in the background. Do you read in the bathroom? No, I do not. This is probably going to be a little bit TMI, but when I'm in the bathroom doing my stuff there, I just want to do that and get out. So I don't have my phone with me. I don't have a book with me. None of that stuff. Yeah. I'm a bit of a germaphobe too, so I think like if I were to bring a book with me when I'm doing that stuff, it would just kind of gross me out, and I'd feel like I'd have to wash my hands every single time I use that book or read that book. Anyone else? Question number 6 is, do you read in waters, such as in the bathtub, in a pool, etc.? I do not. So I'm not really the type of person that likes to take baths. I've done it a few times, but I always feel like I'm human soup in a way, and I just get bored. So I've tried watching movies while taking a bath, any of those type of things, and it never works for me. And when we were recently on our last trip, I did read my Kindle near the pool, but I was far away from the pool, so I never did any reading inside the water. I was just too paranoid. I'm a very clumsy person, and I feel like if I read a book in the water, whether it's a paperback or a Kindle, I'm probably gonna drop it. Like, I don't know, I'm missing a finger or two. Like, there's less to grip, so we'll blame it on that. So do you DNF? So yes, I do DNF. I feel like when I was younger, I was more likely to push through a book and not necessarily stop reading. But now that I'm older and getting back into my book reading journey, I feel like there's just so many books out there that I haven't read, and so trying to force myself to read a book, I'm afraid I'm gonna get in a reading slump, not enjoy the book as much. And there's so many amazing books out there that I feel like forcing myself to read one that I'm not enjoying just isn't worth it. Also wondering how many crunch sounds are gonna be in here. Do you ever read ahead or skip to the end of the book? Sometimes. So for example, this was a book that I read last month, and I'll never do something where it's like, you know, you read the last page in the book, you know what happens, that type of thing. But sometimes, depending on if it's a thriller or one of my favorite characters seems like they're endangered and might not survive, I'll sometimes like skip a few pages ahead just to go and see like, all right, is their name mentioned there? Or like what are some of the tones that I'm reading and some of the keywords that I'm catching? So I'll kind of do a little jump like that, but nothing where I'm gonna like read what's happening a few pages ahead before I get there. And I also do that too, just to see like, all right, I'm getting really sleepy, but I want to finish the chapter. How many more pages do I have left to read? So that's kind of one of the things that I'll do. Plus, when I'm reading a book too, and they happen to have like fun little comics in them like this, sometimes I can't help but look ahead because, you know, it's fun. Are you book polygamous, i.e. read more than one book at a time? Yes. I never thought I would be that type of person, but since working remotely, I found that sometimes it's really nice to have an audio book playing while I'm working versus a podcast or things like that. So usually I might have one audiobook and then one physical book, or an audiobook, a physical book, and then maybe a Kindle book as well. But I also try to make sure that these books don't have the same genre. So I'm not reading like 2 thrillers at the same time, 2 fantasy books at the same time, especially one being a high fantasy, just because I feel like that would be too many details to keep track of, and I might get a little bit confused. So yeah, I will read multiple different types of books, but just kind of being aware like, all right, are these ones that I need to really focus on and not have other things that are going to confuse me, or are these fairly easy to follow along with without getting confused? Just keeping some of those details in mind. Do you own more books than bookshelf space? Yes. I know I recently got this bookshelf put together, and there's some missing spots just because I have some TBR stuff and some other videos that I'm planning on filming, as well as just a stack of books that I need to read for the bingo that I'm doing. But yeah, those spots are basically taken, and this bookshelf is packed, and I mean packed. And I haven't filmed it yet because I'm still waiting for a few more books to arrive, but I have a stack of books that I need to do an unboxing video for. So yeah, needless to say, I am pretty much out of bookshelf space again. So yeah, I have a book buying problem. The last question I believe is a bonus one, and it says, do you ever take a book without leaving a book at a little free library? So I have actually never gone to a little free library. I've passed a few and made mental notes about, okay, I need to go and stop there sometime in the future, but I have never actually used one. It's kind of one of my dreams to own one day. But I'd like to think that if I came across one, I'd hopefully have a book with me that I'd be able to unhaul, or maybe take a book but then rush home if it's not too far away and I'm not traveling, and bring back a book, because I I know like mentally I'd be so guilty about taking a book without leaving one that I wouldn't be able to fall asleep at night. And yeah, it would be like one of those things where you had a conversation with someone and they're like, enjoy your food, and you're like, you too, and you're just haunted by that forever and ever. So I'd like to avoid that. So I would fully like to think that if I took a book from a free little library, I'd leave one. And the last one is to go and tag some people. I don't know who all has already been tagged in this because I'm a little bit behind on this tag. I feel like it was going around more in July and we're kind of towards the end of August. So I'll just list a few channels, and if anything, it's just me going and shouting them out. There's so many amazing channels here that I have found and I love hanging out in. I'm kind of behind in some of my favorite channels just because I have been traveling so much. So I feel like I need to like binge watch some of their videos. But anyway, some of the people I'm going to tag in this would be Steph Morgan. I love watching her videos and hearing her thoughts about some of these different types of books. She's also working on writing a book as well, and I honestly hope that when she does release her book, I can be one of those people that can snag it up right away, not necessarily as an ARC, but just to go and support her. But yeah, I love hearing her thoughts and just how deep she gets about some of the books that she reads. I find it absolutely fascinating, and I usually hear about books from her that I haven't heard about elsewhere. Becca, her channel is Gemini Pages. She goes and makes a lot of videos where she reads books on her Kindle and also shows her whole book journal process on her iPad, and I really love going and watching her channel. She has these amazing vibes. She's also a gamer girl as well, so I love seeing what games she gets into, and she also loves astrology and Greek mythology, so just a few little things that I very much enjoy as well. Sarah, whose channel is Wicked Reading. I love Sarah's vibes so much. She is one of my favorite channels to go to for like thriller and horror books. I enjoy her channel so much, and just the energy and vibes she has. She also released some merch, and I'm hoping that during one of my paychecks I'll be able to snag some because she has some really cool stuff, and I just financially haven't been able to do it because of all the trips we've had going on. And then I'm gonna go and tag, and I'm sorry if I'm saying your name wrong. I watched some of your videos back and I was like, she's not saying her channel name, so I might butcher this completely, but I love your channel so much. So the next one is Gen Z Reads, and she is another channel that I really adore watching. I think one of the first videos I saw was actually her going to a free little library, but one of the things I connected with her on is the fact that we are both so guilty of buying books based off of pretty colors, and I feel like we both just have this problem where it's like, all right, I'm not gonna pick up this book, but then we think about it so much and then we have to go and pick it up. So I really enjoy her channel as well, and I wanted to tag her in this. And then the last one, I'm not sure if Brooklyn went and tagged her already, because I think I got her channel from Brooklyn's last tag video, but this one is Lucy Can Read. I love her channel so much. Just the commentary that she has, the way she edits her videos, she is hilarious, and I honestly would love to hear her answers for this tag. And yeah, that's all I have to say there. But yeah, so those are the people that I have tagged for this. I'll have all the questions as well as the people that tagged me, the original person that created this tag, as well as the people that I'm tagging down below. And please do not feel obligated to go and do this tag at all. If anything, it's just me going and shouting you out because everyone's channel here is so awesome. I love the Booktube community so much. Everyone just cheers each other on, and we all love books, and I mean, what's not to love about books? So yeah, I hope you enjoyed this. I'm sorry if I got distracted because that tends to happen a lot lately. I've been so all over the place, but yeah, I had a lot of fun filming this, and I have a lot of books and things that I need to film and do. So I'm gonna head out, but I love you all, and just remember, you are worthy and capable of amazing things. Bye.